So let's talk about building confidence in boys. Your first tip for us is actually to understand what confidence is.
Understand what confidence is, and I'm so proud of Alex for having the guts and the courage to share his story. Because I mean, I work with young people all the time at our center, and very few people, people will achieve their goals and they'll get there, but then they're not. It's pretty courageous to. And I said to him, I said, you are going to be the courage, the voice of courage to all these other men and boys and girls and women as well, saying that this is possible, that this is a fixable problem that we can actually change and do something about.
Absolutely.
So confidence. So what is confidence? We hear so much about it. Confidence is 100% learned. It is not 1% genetic.
Okay.
Okay. So all
That's
it is.
Comforting.
I know. That's why I love this topic.
That's comforting.
Because this is totally fixable. People think, oh my goodness, I was born this way. A lot of people think I was born with low confidence, and that's actually not true. All it is, all self-esteem is, or confidence, it's how we think. That's it. Okay, so it's the dialogue that goes inside of our head. How we think about ourselves will affect how we feel about ourselves. How we feel about ourselves will impact every single decision we make, from dating to goal setting to communication to peer pressure. And so when parents call my office, it's because they don't like certain behaviors that their children are making. Kids come to see me, or young people, because they don't like how they're feeling. But to change anything, you actually have to change how you think.
It's all in the mind.
It's all in the mind. The mind is so powerful. It's so sophisticated. And so for a lot of times, in an Alex situation as well, it's like he's not feeling it. He's not feeling confidence. It's kind of the unspoken topic that a lot of young people are struggling with, but nobody knows what to do with it. They think, well, I'm just kind of like, I just have to kind of suck it up. This is how I just got to suffer.
Right.
And so first thing is to realize that self-esteem is 100% learned, and this is something that we can change.
Okay, so we can change it. You
can
take
change
control.
it.
Now, how do we change it?
Okay, so a few different things. The first thing is to actually really start understanding with what is the dialogue that's inside of our head. So we all have internal dialogue. It's like the little thoughts that go inside of our head. I'm fat, I'm thin, I'm smart, I'm stupid, I'm ugly, nobody wants to date me, I need to have approval from other people. There's all these thoughts. Some experts say we have about 60,000 thoughts that go through our head in an average day.
No wonder we're so tired.
I know, right?
Lot of thinking.
It's a lot of thinking.
Yes.
And so there's a 3-step process that I've created over the last decade working with clients. It's extremely effective in terms of helping fix this. I love this topic so much because I can see the benefit of it with Alex's story. But the first step is to really actually understand what are the thoughts. And actually I get people to write, just take a probably about 15 minutes, write out all the different thoughts that actually are inside of your head.
Right.
Just get it out on paper.
Okay.
Don't challenge or whatever, just actually get it out on paper. And then so that's the first step. And then the second step, once you actually have it on paper, take a step back and ask yourself, if you had a best friend that looked like you, talked like you, acted like you, thought like you, would you tell him these thoughts?
And the answer is no.
No.
You would
I mean, in
never
fact,
say
if you actually,
that.
for most people, when I do this exercise with them, when they actually look at it, they're like, I would not even tell my worst enemy these thoughts.
Really?
And that's why, so people who are struggling with low self-esteem, they've got toxic thinking in their mind.
Right.
It's toxic thinking.
It's interesting. It seems like a real uphill battle to change that, though, because someone who's thinking these things would think to themselves, well, how did I just all of a sudden go from thinking I am stupid to thinking I am intelligent?
Right.
But is it really as simple as just thinking it?
There's a process that I do to kind of help people get there because the mind is very sophisticated. You can't erase thoughts, you have to replace thoughts.
Okay.
Okay, so you can't just say, okay, I'm gonna stop thinking like that. The mind is very sophisticated. You have to, it's almost like you have to challenge it, and from a very, very strategic almost way.
Right.
So when I do this process with clients, and this is what we do at our center, is that most people there'll be themes. I mean, it's interesting actually, with teenagers, I see change pretty quickly because the internal dialogue hasn't been going on that long. When I work with adult clients, it takes longer. The same process works, but it takes longer because the toxic thinking has been going on so much longer.
Right, that makes sense.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So with teens, once they actually kind of write down all of their thoughts, usually there's about 5 or 10 that are really kind of the main ones. And then we come up with new thoughts, and then there's a third step to actually what I do to get them to actually embrace the new thinking.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to actually do that. I'm going to write down my thoughts.
It's fascinating, and it's so literally it's life changing. It is life changing. A person feels so much better about themselves.
Right.
It changes their body language, their goal setting, their outlook, and it changes who you date.
Oh, that's an important point.
Yes, because when people feel better about themselves, they're drawn to people who are more confident, and more confident people are actually drawn to them.
Right, and it's just this self-fulfilling.
It's self-fulfilling, and I tell people, if you are single,
confidence.
if you are single and you're not feeling good about yourself, make your #1 goal to feel confident. Because if you're feeling an 8 out of 10 in your confidence, you will be drawn to people who are 8s out of 10s.
Right.
If you're feeling a 3, 3s are drawn to you, and you're drawn to 3s.
Got it.
Yes.
Oh, that's That's a very good point. Now, so you challenge and you replace the thinking. You're saying the thinking has to be 5 different things.
Yes.
Like the thoughts that you replace it with. So they have to be thoughtful, loving. You have to focus on what you can control, accept what you cannot control, and be specific.
Be specific. The mind is very sophisticated. And for Alex, that was really, I think, his aha moment, because his thinking, I'm short, I'm short, I'm short. That was like a toxic thought. It's not loving.
Get away from it.
It's not loving.
Yeah.
It's definitely not. It's not loving. I mean, and you can't. You have to accept what you cannot control.
Right.
And you have to reframe it.
Yeah.
And looking at it from a totally different lens.
Right.
And so once you can kind of see it from a different lens, and you actually start feeding yourself really almost nutritious emotional wisdom, it literally changes how a person feels.
Good stuff. All right, we've got to go to break. I could talk about this forever. Stay with us. Family and Health Day, more coming up.